Hey guys, Andy here. So there's quite a bit of competition in the sort of £400 area of smartphones, and I have to say I was kind of taken in a little bit by Xiaomi's marketing when I saw the Mi Note 10 being advertised as the world's first 108 megapixel Penta camera. It's the world's first what? I've got to get me one of them. Well, that and the fact that it was on some kind of crazy deal. So I think on the Xiaomi website it's like $469, and I got it for like $319 or something similar. I think right now you can get them about £400 on Amazon, which is not a bad price for a phone of the specs that this has, and we're going to go through that in a moment. But yeah, I really was taken in by this whole camera sales point on the website. So is the device itself worth the price you're paying? Well, let's find out. So one of the first things to probably be aware of is there's three different versions of the Mi Note 10. This is the regular Mi Note 10. There's also a Pro and there's a Lite, which I'm not sure is actually out just yet. So, I mean, all I can really compare at the moment, well, I'll throw up a sort of image of what the differences are, but the regular and the Pro appear to be identical, all bar the extra RAM and storage in the Pro and the camera. So the regular here that I have has got 7 different sort of plastic lenses, and the Pro has 8 different plastic lenses. And you're paying, well, I think the Pro is an extra £60 or so, but it scored 121 on DxOMark. That's really quite high. That's really up there with the good ones. Although on DxOMark it's listed as the Xiaomi Mi CC9 Pro Premium Edition. But apparently it's the same thing as the Mi Note 10 Pro. So if cameras are really, well, we'll get to obviously the camera in this one as we go through, but that is the big difference really, is the camera. So as I said, this is the regular Note 10. It comes in Aura Green, Midnight Black, and this one of course is Glacier White. It's 9.67 millimeters thin, or possibly you might say thick, and 208 grams, and it does feel a little bulky, if I'm honest. Perhaps not helped by the fact that you get a free case in the box, which is great, and I have generally been using the free case with the device, and that obviously adds a little bit of bulk to it. As you can see, they've gone with the in-screen fingerprint sensor, which generally, oh yeah, look, I am pushing the battery at the moment, is generally pretty good, pretty reliable, not super quick, but I mean quick enough. I've not had any problems with it, let's put it that way. But it's a fairly simple sort of kind of classical Xiaomi design. I do like the colour, it's quite nice. You get different colours reflecting off it. It's a rounded design. We'll come to the screen in a moment, I suppose. But the actual hardware inside, it's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G, which is an 8nm chipset. It's got an octa-core processor, it's got an Adreno 618, it's got 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. And as I said, you spend sort of £90 more or so and you've got 8GB and 256 with the Pro version. It Geekbench at about 1,695, which is okay. I mean, it's lower down in my list because I've tested quite a lot of sort of pretty high-end devices, but I mean, I can tell you it's fluid and smooth in the operation. In fact, I want to just give you a quick. It's fluid and smooth. You can see everything generally moves pretty quick. It's got NFC, it's got an IR blaster, it's got a 3.5mm headphone jack along the bottom there next to the USB Type-C port, and the speaker at the bottom. It's not a great speaker, but actually it's quite loud. Let's see if we can give you a quick.
Brazil First, where President Bolsonaro is insisting on keeping the economy running despite the country seeing a record rise in the...
So it doesn't sound fantastic, but it is quite loud. It actually scored third best all time of all the devices that I've tested with an average of 95 decibels. And the podcast element of that test, I do 3 different things: a podcast, a bit of music, and, well, another bit of music really, I suppose, a different intro from a while back, and I average across those. But the podcast element scored higher than any other the device has ever scored. I ran it twice to kind of check, and they both were similar scores, so we go, okay, that's what it is. And it also has dual SIM, if that's important too. So the screen I mentioned is 6.47 inch AMOLED. It's got an 87.8% screen to body ratio, helped by small bezels around all of the edges and the teardrop notch at the top. For me, of all the notches, the teardrop is the most acceptable, shall we say. It's probably, I think, the best way to implement a front-facing camera. I think it's better than the motorized pop-up, but at the same time, the jury's out on that one. I guess I worry about the mechanism for it. I mean, it's quite cool and flashy, but is it the best way? I don't know. Maybe it is, but I don't know. Teardrop, I'm okay with. As far as notches in screens go, I'm all right with that. It's 2340 by 1080, which is 19.5 by 9 ratio and 398 pixels per inch, which is plenty good enough. And actually, I think the screen is really quite nice. It maybe doesn't help I change the icons to sort of, they're like a faded set of icons, but actually the colours and the viewing angles, I would say, are really very good. So the screen has HDR10, it scored 652 lumens in my test, which is, it's kind of middle of the pack, but it's a fairly average for most devices. Even some top-end devices score that kind of amount of lumens, which basically means it's going to be fine. You don't really have an issue outdoors in the sunlight. You're probably going to be able to see it. It's covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 5, and it does have an always-on display because it is an AMOLED screen. I quite like the little sort of subtle way that this one is set up, but you do get a lot of different options. Always on display and lock screen, style, and look at all these different, so even when you pick one, so let's go analog and then you start scrolling sideways, you've got all the different options there. Signature, there's lots of different options. Select background, in fact I can't even see, where did I pick mine from? Oh, there it is. Look. And even then, loads of different options. You can have the time sideways, upright, change the colours, change colour automatically, show battery stuff, show loads of different options. So yeah, loads of different options for the lock screen, really, really good. Now this is where I would normally move away to talk about the cameras. There are 5 cameras. We've got a 5x, a 2x, a regular, an ultra wide and a macro. But I basically made, because I figured the cameras are a very big element of this phone, I made a whole separate video, it's almost 10 minutes long. So I would say go and watch that, and I'll give you the quick summary now. There's quite a lot of gimmicks. The 108 megapixel thing, bit of a gimmick, doesn't really work. There's a 50 times zoom off the 5x lens, bit of a gimmick, not really necessary, just crop your 5x really and you get the same looking thing. The macro lens it's kind of fun, but a bit of a gimmick, not really that much use. Slow motion is poorly implemented, I would say. Having said that, the ultra wide angle lens, the 2x and the 5x were really, they're really welcomed and do give good results, much like the regular wide angle lens does. So yeah, maybe Xiaomi built it up a bit too much from their website and set my expectations too high. So I feel like my video review of the camera was a bit sort of a downer, when actually the camera is better than average. It's not actually a poor camera. It's just it doesn't, the 108, like I say, well, I just explained it all. Those extra bits, they're just not worthwhile. I wouldn't have bothered with those. Just stick with having good lenses and good quality from those lenses, because it does do the basics and a bit more, like ultra wide and 5x. I mean, there's not that many phones have 5x zoom, and actually the lens is really good. It does do those quite well. There's a few color balance issues I found when it was really bright sunlight. It struggled a little bit with some of the colors. And actually sometimes when I launch the camera from the lock screen, it's fine on that occasion, but sometimes it would lock up, it would freeze up, I couldn't operate, I had to turn off and then try again, and it would be fine after that. So yeah, the cameras, actually they are pretty good, So the software, so on MIUI version 11, Android version 9. MIUI 11 is quite nice now. Oh, I just see I've got a system updater, but it won't let me do it with this low. Oh wow, the app drawer is here. So breaking news, so to speak, the app drawer. All right, so that's very interesting, because one of my points was going to be the launcher's not even got an app drawer, and you've not even got an option to add an app drawer. So I'm actually running Pocket Launcher at this point, which is Xiaomi's own launcher. So in some ways you kind of stay in stock because it's their launcher. I don't know if there's anything else that you need to see in here. Device specs, I suppose, maybe. But yeah, MIUI is actually, it's kind of pretty now, and it's very smooth and fluid, and it's not what it used to be. Basically, gestures work well with, as hopefully you've been seeing as I've been using them, just the regular sort of. And this is, I mean, I would call it a third-party launcher, but it is their launcher, and they work fine. They work really well with that, like the swiping up and holding from the bottom. So there are lots of different options in settings. Things like we can hide the notch if we wanted. So if we type in notch and status bar, hide the notch, and I can change it to that version where you still get all the space used by your icons and things, but it gets hidden a bit better. The notch gets hidden in the dark, well, in the black background. It really is a very featured version of Android. There's a lot of different options within there. One thing that I sort of a little surprised is not there that I would like is that I can change what icons are showing. So I always have certain like that vibration or the bell cross out, the work mode crossed out, Bluetooth. I don't need those. I'd rather just get rid of them and have more space for notification icons. So I'm a little surprised that's not there, but there are lots of different options. So most of the pre-installed apps can be removed. So we're going to manage apps. So if we hit uninstall, things like LinkedIn, I definitely did install that myself. Mi Remote, or Peel Mi Remote. So things like this can be installed, which is a great thing. So they're kind of system apps, but not totally system, because actual system apps like the cleaner and security apps, they can't be removed. When you find them, it just says you can't disable, you can't remove, nothing like that. You can run dual apps for certain applications. So if you've got two different Facebook accounts, basically you can turn that on, you can have them both logged in on the same device. Normally you get like WhatsApp will be the same thing, so a lot of them actually. Oh, it's WhatsApp. Oh, I've not got WhatsApp installed on this. It'll be white. So lots of options in that respect. You get ads scattered through the device. So if you go to, I mean, funny enough, I've turned them off. So I've done a whole separate video. And again, I'll try and remember to throw that up in the corner there. But you would run like the security scan, and the screen afterwards is just scattered with loads of ads. It's really quite odd. And this is, you know, I bought this direct from Xiaomi, and it's their own ROM. It's not been tampered with. It's their own launcher, and it has ads scattered through it. But as you can see here, they're not now, and it just makes me look like I'm talking rubbish. But go and watch my video on removing ads from Xiaomi devices, because that kind of solves that problem, basically. The only other weird thing is when an app asks for location access, it doesn't give me the option for only when using the app or just this one time. It doesn't give me that option. It literally just says, do you want to give it access, yes or no? Which seems a bit odd. And maybe, did that come in Android 10? Maybe it did. But yeah, that's a bit of a letdown. Finally, we're going to move on to the battery, which is a non-removable LiPo 5260 mAh battery. It does have fast charging with 30 watts. It'll do 58% in 30 minutes, 100% in 65 minutes, so they tell me. Honestly, I didn't actually test that because I didn't get the actual charger. I've just used my charger and it seemed to work fine. It does have USB power delivery, so I use my power delivery charger and it charges no problem. I guess bottom line, it does have fantastic battery life. If we go into AccuBattery, so even with 8% left, it thinks I've got another hour of screen on time. So the total times it thinks I can use, 12.5 hours screen on time, 61 hours if I just left it on the desk without turning the screen on, and generally 44 hours of combined use. That's pretty huge. And if you want to sort of verify those numbers, what am I after? Power or battery? Battery and performance, battery use statistics. So it's telling me a day and 13 hours. So we go back 24 hours, it's now 2 o'clock, 13, so that was yesterday morning basically it came off charge, and it's now 2:30 the day after and I'm still going. And I think I've had reasonable screen on time. Can I see my screen on time? 3.5 hours. For me, that's quite a lot. I generally don't go more than an hour and a half, 2 hours in a day. So I guess 3.5 hours in a day and a half sounds about right. But yeah, really good battery life, really good battery life. In my test, it actually scored 95%, so it's an hour-long test. 95, that's the third best ever. There's a couple of devices above that. I mean, funny enough, I think the devices that beat it and the devices directly below it had smaller batteries, but still, that's really good. And I don't feel, strangely, like the RAM management is overly aggressive like you sometimes get with Xiaomi devices. I have a bit more faith in the notifications coming through than I've normally had, which is a big thing for me that often puts me off Xiaomi devices. So if we summarise, the speaker is like the third loudest I've ever tested. The battery is the third best I've ever tested. It's a good start. It's got a fantastic looking screen with acceptable brightness, with workable brightness. Enough power for a fluid and slick experience. The camera is certainly well featured, and I would say it's sort of acceptable, if not good. I'll probably go to good quality. Xiaomi software just isn't what it used to be. It's no longer a reason not to buy a Xiaomi device, I believe, especially since I found out how you remove the adverts. So if you're looking for a device in the £400 range, I think you really do need to consider this phone, or the Pro, which is, like I say, maybe I think it's $469 on Amazon. Because actually it's a really nice device, nice and slick, performs well, and it looks quite nice as well. So all in all, I think I'll give it a bit of a thumbs up. I'd love to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments down below. I do read all of them. Also, I bought this device with my own money. I buy all of my devices with my own money. Please do consider going to patreon.com/AAUK and sort of subbing to even a couple of dollars a month. I've only got 1 or 2 subscribers at the minute, because that just helps me buy more devices. I have ordered, I'm not going to say what, I suppose I have ordered another device. It's incoming, but it'll be a week or 2. I think if you've enjoyed watching this, you'll want to see that. So subscribe if you haven't already. Check out other videos on the channel. Please make sure you thumbs up this one. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.